Okay. My name is Sharon Spencer, and I work with Rinda, and I'm a speech-language pathologist for Sherman County.
My name is Dorothy Schott, and I'm also an SLP, speech-language pathologist for North Central ESD, and I'm doing consulting right now.
Hi, I'm Barbara Wiedman, and I'm a special ed learning specialist, K through 6, Sherman County, and I work with Rinda at North Central ESD.
We have been asked to do a short little presentation on executive functioning and how it comes forward in unacceptable behavior, and how we handle that when it's in the classroom situation. In this case, each of us has a part that we do. In my case, my probably biggest suggestion is being calm, using a quiet voice. It does not escalate the behavior. Using a very light, unobtrusive touch to the shoulder that says to the child a cue to calm down, maybe to remain seated, to keep his feet from kicking the child next to him.
Do that gesture
Just a
again.
very calm and very light touch to the shoulder.
Okay.
Body cues are very important. We watch a 5th grade teacher that we think is a master at this. Just a slight sign with your finger. She has a little box that she opens and closes that makes a little noise. The class quiets right down. Always the quiet voice. The quiet voice just keeps the whole classroom on an even keel. And then lastly, on my part, would be the use of positive reinforcement. As you go by, that very quiet in the ear, wow, you're working really nicely today, keep it up, you know. I really like the way you're behaving, rather than sit down, be quiet, etc.
Another idea that we came up with, we called procedures and visuals. And I particularly like this because it has a lot to do with language and showing somebody with visuals or language what their behavior looks like. And so you might be able to pull the student aside and say to them, here's all the other kids in this classroom and they're looking good. And you're getting up and wandering around. And that's what you look like. And their behavior is acceptable and yours is not. How can we make you look like the other person? Because you're affecting them. And you might offer alternatives for him to choose. Like make a list of what would good behavior look like. And then you could also draw out some consequences for him or her of what would happen if the behavior continues. Another thing you could do is, sometimes it isn't always the best to approach the kid in the classroom. You might want to take them outside the classroom, up to your speech room or wherever, and do some drawing out of unacceptable behaviors and what he looks like with the kids, and then also do the positive, do some drawings of what it looks like to be doing good behavior in the classroom.
Possibly some modeling.
Go ahead.
Also modeling of that behavior. If you take them out of the classroom into your own area, you can model for them what you think you would like to see them doing instead of what they're doing. So you've given them several different methods to visualize in their own mind what to do.
Okay, mine now talks about sequence, and first we're going to do this, next or then we will do this, and how they should do it, how the behavior should look like, what it should look like. Letting the students know the sequence of when it's going to happen. In the next 10 minutes, we are going to do SSR. After SSR.
SSR is what?
Silent student reading. We're going to do SSR, and then after that we will put our books away and get our literature books out and start working on reading projects.
But only one step ahead of where we are now?
Usually you could have the sequence of steps all in an order on the board. That first of all, for that class, like if it's reading or writing, you could tell them what we're going to be doing today. They could be on the overhead or the whiteboard or something, telling them. Also making sure that with the students, letting them know what lesson is going to come up and what the lesson's going to be, letting them know that. Also, this also prepares them for the transition. So if it's going to be, next we're going to start math, in 10 minutes we need to be finished with the project we're working on, and we'll be starting math. You will put your books away, go get your math books and your notebooks and your journals, and then after math will be time for PE. So always making sure you're letting them know, and then just before the time, the transition, you can remind them. And like with Sharon, you might go by and then touch the student lightly that needs this extra help or support, and saying now we're almost ready to be doing this transition, get prepared for this.
Okay, if you come together. So my thought is, could you step over this way? My thought is that some people might say this is not secondary teaching, this is elementary teaching. Is doing this kind of stuff disruptive to the rest of the students who don't have learning disabilities?
I spend a part of my time at the secondary level, and at the 7th and 8th grade level we happen to be a blended school of 7 through 12. And I do exactly this in the classroom with my special needs kids, very quietly. I do it to any child that needs it, so that that particular child I'm working with doesn't necessarily stand out as being the child of need. No, it doesn't disrupt anybody else. They're used to us all, you know, giving clues.
And you're doing push-in for learning disabilities. What if you had nobody pushed in, but you had a mainstream teacher with a bunch of kids and a few were learning disabled? Doing these steps, does that seem to the regular ed kids to be disruptive? Or
No, because I did the 7th through 12th grade for 18 years, and we did the same process with all of them. And the teacher would do it too, but if we're in the classroom, the kids are so used to us being in there and walking by, and you make sure that you're not necessarily focusing on your LD kids or your learning disabled kids. You would help all of them.
all of them?
There might be others that are needing the extra support too, but you go by and do the same process.
And I think all teachers know that keeping a sequence written on the board, keeping a time schedule of what we're going to do tomorrow even, is a very important step for all your kids, and especially for your secondary kids.
I think that's where consequences come in. It may be disruptive to other kids, that student's behavior. And so I think that's the point. You have to remove that student from the situation and go over his behavior and his consequences. And if it's affecting somebody else's learning, then that student should be removed from the situation, especially if you have support outside.
But the normal maintenance stuff you were mentioning about, you know, doing first we're going to do this, then this, and walking around and doing light touch and telling them calmly, all of that can be done for all
That's just good
kids.
teaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Nicely done, you guys.